And a major shakeup going on over at Amazon. Jennifer Salke is going to be out as the studio head for Amazon MGM, and she's going to be replaced by no one. That's right. They're basically getting rid of her position entirely and doing a complete restructuring over how they operate over on Amazon Studios. Now, this to me suggests that things haven't been going too well over at Amazon because presumably if a company is successful, then they're going to continue to operate in the manner that they were successful. I mean, that seems kind of logical to me. But for Amazon, they've tried to maintain the Amazon Studios has been successful for them. And don't get me wrong, they do actually have a number of movies and shows that have been successful for them. But to get rid of a position like this entirely, especially as suddenly as it happened, really does suggest that maybe there has been some problems going on over there. But I'll get more on that in a moment and kind of fill in some of the gaps that I think this article I have right here from Variety left out. But first, let's just dive into what it says. So, headline: Jenn Salke announces departure as head of Amazon MGM Studios. Jenn Salke is exiting Amazon MGM Studios and moving to a production deal. Prime Video and Amazon MGM Studios head Mike Hopkins has just announced in a memo to staff she won't be replaced. Instead, head of film Courtney Valenti and head of TV Vernon Sanders will now report directly to Hopkins. Now, just think about that for a second. You have a high up position, then you have a person below them, and underneath that person is two other people. And then all of a sudden you're saying, okay, that middle person, get rid of her entirely, remove that position. You two just report directly to me. That seems like something going wrong over at Amazon if they're going to be operating in that manner. I mean, I could be wrong on this one because I know fire or getting rid of executives and then replacing them is kind of normal. The manner in which it's going down seems kind of strange to me, and that's why it really does look like Amazon is not happy with how things have been operating over there under Salke. Speculation has increased in recent months regarding the status of Salke at Amazon, which she first joined in 2018 after a lengthy stint at NBC and before that 20th Century Fox. Both Hopkins and Salke said it was ultimately her decision to make the change. As part of Salke's exit, she plans to launch her new shingle via a first look TV and film deal at Amazon MGM Studios. And this is something that should be expected. They're going to say, yeah, it was her decision and we're sad to see her go and we're going to miss her, because that's always how this happens. Unless you get an executive who basically commits a crime or pulls a Harvey Weinstein or something like that, you're never going to have the studio itself basically say that they are fired or they're getting rid of him in disgrace. They're always going to try to frame it in this manner and that, yeah, we're sorry to see them go. We wish them the best. They chose to leave on their own free will. We didn't force them out or anything like that, because by doing it this way, they basically allow everyone to save face. Jennifer Salke can leave and kind of claim that, or at least publicly, that she wasn't forced out. She did it on her own free will and everything's fine. She has a good relationship with Amazon, even has a first look deal, which really doesn't mean a whole lot, but still she always tout that as saying, yeah, things between her and Amazon are good. And then Amazon doesn't have to admit that they've been failing underneath Salke, someone that they've kept around, according to this article, around 7 years or since 2018. As I've been considering my next chapter, I've always been searching for that moment where I was positive that our work had set up Amazon MGM Studios for even more success in the long term, Salke said in a statement. When I look at the teams we've put in place, our amazing leaders, and the incredible slate of films and shows we've got in the pipeline, I realize now is the moment. I'm looking forward to continuing doing what I love, cultivating talent, supporting their vision, and bringing compelling stories to audiences around the world. And also just point out, she says there's a bunch of stuff in the pipeline. It seems to me unusual that there's a lot of stuff that she would be greenlit that is kind of coming down the pipeline, but okay, I approve all these things to go into production, and then I'm going to leave before it actually transpires. Because like I said, there was some successes that they've had over there, but it seems like she wouldn't be leaving as long as stuff is being worked on, especially stuff as important as the Rings of Power, something that cost Amazon a fortune to produce. And I think something like that is the reason why she's ultimately leaving from the company, because she approved Rings of Power and oversaw that, yet it has been a catastrophic failure for the studio. Salke Spear has shepherded a number of successes during her term, including hit Prime Video shows Reacher and the romantic actioneer Mr. and Mrs. Smith, genre affairs like The Boys franchise and its spin-off, as well as Fallout, the Jonathan Nolan-led adaptation of the enduring video game franchise, have also played well. Both shows broke into the Outstanding Drama Series category at the Emmys. Yeah, like I said, there was some successes over there that she oversaw. But one thing I noticed about all these shows that they're listing, they're all relatively low budget shows. Fallout, I believe that's the most expensive one. I can't remember exactly. It was like $150 million to produce that. Not a cheap show, but compared to some of the other stuff that they have produced for Amazon, that is relatively inexpensive for them. And it was successful. The show wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It was just okay, but enough to get another season for that, and enough for the viewership for them to declare victory on that one. And that's something I can actually buy. Other shows, though, like Rings of Power, yeah, they tried to frame that as a positive, but really no one who's being honest is actually buying that. Far pricier gambles included the Lord of the Rings of Power dramas, which cost a staggering $700 million to make, as well as the Russo brothers' international spy series Citadel. The first season cost $250 million, and the Dwayne Johnson's Christmas action movie Red One, also $250 million. Mixed results for some of those projects, or all of those projects, has led to talk of Amazon rethinking some of its strategy and being more selective with its spending. Yeah, you probably should be more selective with your spending, because this is what I was talking about. The successes that they had were successes nonetheless, but still relatively modest as far as revenue that they're bringing in. The losses that they've endured on these shows, particularly Rings of Power, are just astronomical for them. Just to put that into perspective, Rings of Power cost $700 million. I don't even think that's all of it. I think in total they were invested, because to get the rights and other things like that, I think in total they were in it for over $1 billion for the Rings of Power. And the first season of it, the viewership was nothing really to write home about. I think the first episodes of it were pretty modest as far as audiences watching it. And not only did audiences not come into the show later on throughout the season, but they saw a drop off. I believe only 37% of people who started the season actually finished it. And then when you look at the viewership for season 2, the amount of viewers that they got for it was around a 60% drop off for what they were getting for season 1, which just suggests that people who started it, most of them stopped watching it. And the only people who are sticking around is that very few minority of people who are actually enjoyed the first season. And that's not enough to justify the cost of that. And I think that's really the key thing with all this, when it comes to Jennifer Salke leaving the company, is because to me, it makes sense that she'd be a little bit more involved with Rings of Power or something like that, since it was significantly more expensive compared to, let's say, Reacher. That was a modest budget. And even though she would have probably had some involvement with it because she greenlit it, and she does have a track record of actually paying attention to everything that she oversees, I think that she wasn't paying attention to that as much as what she was for Rings of Power. And that's one reason why the company executives or people higher up than her are kind of looking at her like, yeah, this is your fault. And that's why they ultimately decided to get rid of her. But this is me just speculating, because according to them, she decided to leave just out of the blue like this. And the company decided to restructure and not give so much power in the hands of one person. I don't know. Maybe everything is going good for them and they just wanted to change up how they're doing business just for the lulz. But it really does look like Amazon is not happy with how their streaming service has been performing, and they're looking to change things up in order to try to make it a little bit more successful. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you think I'm right on this one, or am I wrong on this one? Comment below and let me know what you think. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest in entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.